we all try and trying to make it here. Good.
Everybody's here, but Taylor's on the way for math. She gets out of class at 7, so she'll be here in like 15 minutes.
Good. So she's gonna join us when she get off class. Okay, so we start with my report.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. As you know, I was like trying to put some solar panels on top of Cromer building. So finally, LR responded. Unfortunately, we are not gonna be able to put solar panels on top of Cromer. So we're gonna start looking into alternatives. Most likely, those alternatives are gonna be outdoor tables, like umbrellas, like the ones outside of Show Plaza. That's gonna have like a solar on top. So it's gonna have like a USB outlet at the bottom of it, so you're gonna be able to plug your USB device. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start reading like some reviews and trying to get in touch with some companies to give us some prices and make sure they're real and they work. And when we get that, I will communicate to you guys what is the option we decide. So that's all coming from me.
I'm really happy to hear that because I was a little concerned about the pricing on the other options.
And one of the things, can I share a little bit about what Peter Kendall said? One of the things is because we're a 501 C3, we're a nonprofit, so all the tax credits that we would get by the company, we don't actually get, so the price is still higher. So all those tax credits we get over time, we get none of it because we don't pay taxes on those kind of things. So that's why the price wound up being, you know, it would take 30 years even if we were getting the tax credit. So he's like, do something smaller that everybody's visible rather than something that isn't really, it's not going to be hurtful, it just wouldn't help at the level that most profitable organizations would do. So that was the basic reason.
No, I think I'm all for solar energy. I did several projects on it in my Connect 388 class, but I was a little concerned about it. And the visibility, because you know we want what Santiago has told me that other options I'm all in for. So I got are you good?
I'm assuming we jump into your section, but so today we have the Dr. Wade speaking in the third lecture of the leadership series. That went very well. I think we have around 25 people who show up. He did a great talk, to be honest. I know a few of members. Yes, we were in there.
Thank you.
It's on his Dr. Witt's Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
He gave us a shout out on Twitter.
He has an Instagram?
He does. LR Pres Witt or something like that.
That's Leah Beth.
I know it's
Leah Beth
him,
runs it.
but
You know that.
Yeah, I was a little afraid because I was taking notes while he was doing it. I was typing it up, and I was like, I'm on the first row, and I'm on my phone. I hope he doesn't like bash me or anything. It's good.
Yeah, so thank you to Santiago for hosting that today. Unfortunately, I was in a product strategy review meeting at work from 8 o'clock until 4:45. So, something I've been on the calendar for about 6 months, and so I'm really appreciative for him stepping up and doing that. But I will be there for the rest of the events. Last week with Professor Geithner, we did have 33 people come. It went really well too, and I'm excited for what we've got coming up. So next week will be the student panel. So some of our peers will be there answering questions. It will be more Q&A. I'm going to be preparing some questions, so I'll be up on the stage for the whole time as well, kind of feeding them some different ideas and topics to discuss. And again, just to run over those, there's Lonnie Fox, Virginia Hinson, Haley Salmon, and Janelle.
Rosales.
Always forget.
Is that on the flyers that they?
They are not on the flyer.
Okay, so we need to advertise that
And I'm
a little more than.
yeah,
The
and,
other ones.
and I was kind of the reason it never made it to the flyer was because it changed about 4 times, like the people who were going to participate, and so I guess we could have just put student panel, but I kind of wanted to be more specific. I mean, it's been on the calendar for a while,
Who's
and
the fourth person again? Lonnie, Haley, Virginia, and who?
Janelle.
Janelle,
J-A-N-L.
No, E-L-L-Y.
E-L-L-Y.
Jane.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's right. But and I spoke to Lonnie and Virginia about it on Saturday at the football game. They're both excited. And I'm hoping hoping that they'll have a good participation from the KDs and the PICAPs. That's kind of was the thought process behind that. We'll see how that goes. I have no control over that, unfortunately. Oh, okay. So one thing I do want to stress, I know a lot of you guys have participated in it, and I'm extremely grateful and very, very happy that that's been the case. But I do want to just emphasize that I'm trying not to do a soapbox or anything, because that's not what this is the time or place. But you know, even though we are the leaders on campus, or we should be, we always have to be growing and developing. And just because we have titles, all of us, does not make you a leader. That's like rule number one. Your title doesn't make it. That's why, if you know, when y'all may have noticed, those of you who were there, when I introduced myself at Professor Geithner's, I said, "Hey, I'm Sam Johnson. I'm one of the officers on the student government." Because I learned that a long time ago. I saw a super important guy just got up and he said, "I'm on staff here," and I'm like, "You're the head honcho. Like, what on earth?" And so I picked up on that, and the reason he does that is because the title isn't what matters, you know. So, we always need to be developing. Again, I know everybody's busy. I take off from work from 10 to 11, so I take my lunch break to go to these things. And so it is a commitment. But anyway, so thank you all for being there, and I hope to see the rest of us there as time goes on. And we only got 2 more. And I think it'll be good. Okay, so moving on to something slightly personal. For those of you who don't know, I am actually going to be graduating in December. So, therefore, the vice president of the student government role will be opening up here in about 3 weeks. According to the Constitution, a member of the executive cabinet will be chosen. I'm hoping I'm going to provide a recommendation of the group that we have. Y'all can take that in consideration or not. That's completely up to you. But and that, of course, has to be a junior or senior. Preferably, I'm looking at junior because, you know, your spring of your senior year, you kind of check out. It's definitely taken a lot of focus for me to stay focused on what matters. The fact that I am graduating in a month from tomorrow, which is kind of surreal. But so the next meeting will be my last one. It's been great, and I've loved it, and I'm very confident that I'll be able to hand it off to somebody who is just who's far better and more qualified than me. But again, I'm saying that to whoever it does do it, and anyone in this room, if y'all need anything post graduation, I technically will still be here. I'm taking one class for my master's on Thursdays in the spring, but that is an open invitation for that. But I'll have that recommendation by in 2 weeks. That's it.
Yes, we need to do that.
Cool.
The minutes.
So you can ask for a motion to approve.
Is there a motion to approve the last meeting's minutes?
Do we have any issues with the minutes from last time?
I didn't get them. I don't know if I wasn't on email.
Yeah, I didn't get any either.
What?
I remember
Check
seeing
them.
them.
I
I can check again. I might have missed it, but
It was like right after the meeting or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, it was directly after the meeting.
Yeah.
I'll
Check-
wait for you to
Check spam, just in
Oh,
case,
I
but
delete all my spam every day.
And do you remember?
It's
Subject.
your minutes.
That's
Show
your
which one
minutes.
mine.
That was set.
Got it.
Is it there yet?
I might have just
Oh,
missed it.
I
I mean, I was
deleted
Okay,
really
you're good.
sick, so it could
That's fine.
If not,
fine.
I'll
we'll just send it out again.
Yeah, they're on.
I got them.
Yeah.
Good. So can we approve it?
Do you want to have a chance to look at them real quick, or you want to delay that? Huh?
It's fine. Okay, we're just
Look,
scan
look,
it.
look, 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 look. Here's what I've been doing.
Sometimes,
They changed the firewalls, and because we've got so much coming down from out of the country, spamming and all this other stuff, so.
Yeah, hacking it.
I got it. I know I got it. I know I got it the second it was over.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just can't
because you said
find
right
it.
after.
Do you see
said and finished it.
I can,
We're just passing my phone.
I just forwarded it into Dr. Grant.
Thank you. Do these get posted on the website, our minutes? Do we have what's our social media like right now?
Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram, but, so we don't post minutes
I
anymore?
don't know. We got back into the Instagram.
I have not, but
Who took over that? Because I'm not in charge of Instagram.
It kicked me out last year and never let me back
okay,
in.
really, okay, I'll see if I can get back into it.
Yeah.
We can post them.
We can we can take
Yeah.
screenshots
Who's
on.
gonna be sending them to?
We can take a screenshot on your phone and then just put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
No one hurts. Would
So-
be
Sorry.
Once they're
once they're approved.
Once they're approved.
Yeah.
That means
Got it.
you're gonna be a week behind.
always be 2 weeks behind, yeah.
That's okay, though, it still shows up
Yeah.
transparency.
And the video goes on Facebook. Where does
No, the video is
go?
going to YouTube.
Going to YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta
Okay.
put a link.
Can you send me the link or whatever it is so I can put it just direct? I'll just put it on link onto Facebook and that way we're even more transparent.
Yes. Do you have internet in your computer?
Do I have it? YouTube up?
Yeah. Just type SEA Luna Ryan or something similar to that and it should
That's
pop up.
And
That's small.
I guess while we're waiting for that, I would recommend that, either at our last meeting or our first meeting next semester, we review our, all of our ways of communicating with the students. And make sure that somebody's taking charge of all of that, because I think transparency was one of our lead,
That was one of the things
Goals.
that people talked about.
yeah, so.
Yeah, and Dr. Witt even talked about it today. His 3 things that he strives to do every day is integrity, being transparent, and caring for others.
And something that usually gets lost in the weeds. So
Yes.
Day to day.
Sorry, Peyton, would you, I don't know where you would add that, if we're
Yeah.
next meeting or future meetings, I don't care. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready to motion for the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
So
Hagan makes the motion, right?
Okay, well, whoever wants to make the motion.
Or,
Peyton can make the motion.
Make it a motion, people.
All right, I'll second.
Anybody have a second?
I'll second.
Yes, for you then.
No, it's like
motion to second the minutes from last meeting.
I second.
Yeah. Yeah. So the minutes are approved.
Yep. All those in favor,
All those in favor,
say aye.
say aye. I forgot about that.
Anybody abstain?
Anybody abstain? Anyone opposed? Awesome. So the minutes are approved.
Okay, so for my report, we spent $131.98 on 2 of the X things. Do you know if they're here already?
oh yeah, they've been here
Oh,
for like
okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you say that number one more time?
$131.98 on the X banners.
The 2 to say afterwards.
Sam?
Yeah, I've seen them. We should have brought them.
And then we spent $200 on the soccer tickets, $200 on the banner. So who won for that?
That I don't know. You know everyone?
Yes, I was there. I hope I get the name right. I think Delta Zeta.
Delta Zeta and Beta
Yeah,
They did it together.
Yes.
Oh, for the banner?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
they won.
that was cool.
That is
Actually, the concert was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was there.
Sounds good. That's good music.
So,
Food trucks
Um,
and big hit.
I just
We
needed to
comment- no, that
contact
was-
them to make sure that they sent
Yeah,
the 100
that's it.
out to philanthropy.
Yes. We comment that you mentioned the banners.
Mhm.
This upcoming Saturday, the upcoming freshmen are coming to sign up. So SG is gonna have a table. So we're gonna
Oh,
use it
yeah,
there.
it's a scholarship day.
Yes.
Right. I'm talking about the banners that were made at the
Yes.
event.
That's for Theta Xi and Delta Zeta,
Okay.
and so we'll just transfer money. I can get you the
Yeah.
codes.
Okay. And then we gave seeds $57.91. So that leaves our budget at $29,391.58. I'll repeat it. So 29391.
How much did you give seats?
$57.91.
Got it. It's hard to type at the top. Okay, and what's the remaining?
29391 and
391.
58 cents.
58 cents. Got it.
So that's all I have for us today. We have Dr. Heller here from the English department about the Shakespeare trip. Matt told me that Aaron Bessie was going to come for the
They,
They email us for
and
football game
Taylor
tickets.
Frederickson is gonna present it.
okay.
Okay.
And then video game club that's not here unless you're presenting them with a
No, I'm not. No.
okay. Well, video
It's
game's
okay.
not here.
Yeah, they're slightly different, the video game club and the.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even on the video game club, so.
All right. That's it.
There's like, one was created first and then esports started later. He was talking about the difference between esports and
Don't pretend that.
video game club. They're two different
I
things.
just made it up, the difference.
Well,
Supposed to.
match representative is not here yet, so we go with the junior
Okay.
president.
The only thing I have to report is that I've heard probably about 10 people on Canvas say stuff about not being out for Memorial Day and Veterans Day. They're saying we're not patriotic and military friendly, even though we do have a lot of people on campus, not Canvas.
Just had our Veterans Day ceremony.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I've really heard about is not being out for both of them. And I haven't got anything with the handprint board figured out yet. So. That's
You did figure out why your emails were not going, so I'm gonna send you in and updated.
all. Okay.
And same thing for you, Emma.
Thank you.
We figured out that you can only put like so many lines on an email, so I can put as an attachment to you, so you'll have it. So
Okay.
I will, we figured it out.
Can you guys have
Thank goodness to Olivia.
That's all I have to report.
Can I follow up on that? Do you guys have any opinions on Veterans Day, or what was the other one?
Memorial Day.
Or Memorial
We
Day?
don't have work on school on Memorial Day, 'cause that's in May.
Oh.
There is no work on Memorial Day.
So basically just,
They're talking about
Yeah,
We
so,
don't have classes
being in
on
school
Memorial Day or
by
anything. No, school is actually.
It's always been like that.
so it's
It's
just,
always been like that.
what's that?
We've always had Veterans Day in school.
We always have the days everybody else
Well,
has.
And-
It's
private
weird.
schools do that.
And
Yeah.
But
like,
only public schools normally, well, because they're forced.
Because they're public schools.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was really weird because I came from
Yeah.
a public school and came to a private school, and so I had Veterans Day off.
Yeah.
And I was always happy about it. 'Cause Veterans Day is my birthday, so I was like, man.
But I know, like, when I go to, like, the Golden Convention and everything, which is a bunch of the colleges that go together, everybody else is off. So.
You didn't do Clayton.
Oh, we missed somebody.
It's okay, I mean.
Hey, I was just letting you know.
Yeah, just come here.
so, I mean, what's the point? Do you guys wanna do anything about it, or go on the record, or you just wanna say that sure would be nice to get a day off?
I think Lenore Ryan does more than enough.
Yeah.
Acknowledging veterans, I think that it's, if you combine that with some of the on-campus groups who, I guess you could connect that to kind of connect it to the 9/11 memorial that the CRs do every year. I know last year it got moved to Veterans Day because of terrible weather, even though this year was terrible weather too. But then what the school does, I think, is adequate.
I'm just
Personally.
gonna. Oh, sorry.
Coming from my grandfather's a retired lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. I don't think he would be offended that we had school. I mean, that's just me. I can ask him next week at Thanksgiving, but if it's this is just maybe me being a little cynical. Most likely, most of the students who are saying something just want a day off, and it's less than an actual cause. I don't know. I mean, I don't care if it means that we get out for Christmas early, then it's fine with me.
It probably means you get one extra day somewhere else,
Yeah, and
possibly.
yeah,
That's
just
I will tell you this, and I'm definitely one to say we need to honor our veterans for sure, so if that's something that y'all wanted to say, hey, let's look at these different holidays we're getting off and on and things like that, that'd be perfectly fine for SJ to do that. I will tell you though, that, where was I going with that? Just, my brain just went off to Albuquerque. Sorry. Wait. Oh, I know, it is. There is a calendar committee who's looking at the university calendar to try to see, do we have the, because we have a certain number of hours that we actually have to have you in classes, for SACS accreditation. So I don't think anybody has a real dog in the fight as to which of those days between X and Y that you have it. So it may be that committee's gonna be looking at it, but if y'all have some serious opinions about it, then, you know, it certainly can't hurt to say we would like to have this, you know, be heard at a higher level.
I'm just kind of saying this, like, I mean, I'm a senior, so it doesn't really matter what y'all do. I think a lot of it too is that most private schools do normally have these days, because I know last year, like, my boyfriend went to Catawba, graduated from there, and they always had the same days that we had, because, like, we are not a public school, so we don't always, like, we're not forced to.
Right.
But I think personally, sometimes people, I agree with Sam that it's a lot about just like wanting to have a day off instead of actually doing something to be like, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
I personally would rather have an extra day of fall break. That's
Yes.
extend fall break
Yes.
from Monday,
No, just
Tuesday,
that.
Wednesday. That's just,
No one
you know,
wants
but
that.
maybe it's because I was out
Roll
of
them
it.
all into Thanksgiving.
Or that, because,
Oh,
and
yeah.
actually, that's
That
an
would be
adjustment for
amazing.
me,
That would be
because
amazing.
when I was, my high school had the entire week of Thanksgiving off.
Yeah.
And that, because I came from a private high school, that's how they did it, I don't know why. And so this is, it's an adjustment for me to do that. And so, I mean, still, I have to work on the Wednesdays.
But I think that's a good point. The other thing is, I remember last year about this time, we talked about MLK Day. And you know, that was not always a day off with no classes. And President Powell started that because he really wanted students to acknowledge the holiday by attending the NAACP march and the presentation. So, you know, I think for me, one of the things, again, we talked about this last time, that this group could do would maybe commit itself to going to the planning on going to the MLK Day event and encouraging the student body to join in that, for a variety of reasons. One is to support, but another is to demonstrate, you know, that you kind of understand why we aren't having classes on that day, because again, this calendar, I don't know what they're gonna do,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they might go
everyone
back to
does.
the old schedule and actually have classes on MLK Day, which, yeah, that'd be bad. Yeah, so anyway, I would, as a group, I would encourage us to think about that. Because I'm stopping racism right here tonight.
I love it.
Put my hammer, I'll put the hammer down.
You want mine?
My
You want mine?
sledgehammer. My sledgehammer.
We can put the
Anyway,
gavel down on that.
That's what I had to say about that.
I'm apologizing. I skipped Clayton in his report.
Okay.
He doesn't have anything but students.
Yeah, I have a riveting one this week of absolutely nothing going on. So.
Okay.
Just wanting
I
to
feel less bad.
let you know
Hooray!
for next.
We like it when
Okay.
it's bored.
She was
That's
telling
a
me, it's
good
like,
thing.
I'm
I
sorry.
was like sliding that one in there, just. You know.
We're gonna earn his paycheck this
Yeah.
Taylor, would you like to?
Yes. So Matt wanted me to tell you guys that he has a meeting with Lakeisha on Friday to send out an email to the graduating class in December this Friday. He's also going to be speaking to the class of 1969 on Wednesday to talk about philanthropy and our endeavors. And if anyone has any artistic friends for a possible sketch for the t-shirt, send him their contact information.
We used to hit up the art club.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a name, Sarah Johnson.
Yeah.
Very talented.
Yes, she's very nice.
She is very talented.
Would you like her number?
That would be perfect.
So, I can't give the number, but you can give whatever you want. I can't give
I
the
think you
number.
should ask before you give it out.
She is, but she is
Same.
incredibly talented.
Just ask first.
Very
It brings me a bell the name back. And
Kind of
I gotta find it.
She's got
You said that.
never responds.
Probably
You should ask her.
Probably what she was.
I will.
Oh,
Actually,
I'm gonna draw a different one, but
She's
just make it two different designs.
I think
Let me
she's
see.
cute.
Text her
And I'll do
Okay,
And we're
that's
pinning
fine.
the red nose on.
Brett,
Got a lot.
you have something for us tonight?
Yeah.
There we go.
Alright, so with the Spring Bazaar we have made the executive decision to move it from Stasevich Place to the stadium parking lot because the application to get blocked off through the city is like 9 pages. It's very extensive. You have to have like a bunch of people come out and check out the entire venue. You have to have sketches drawn out. You have to have measurements. Have to have people already committed and stuff. So I'll just wait. Okay.
Sorry, we're having problems.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So yeah, it's gonna be in the stadium parking lot, and I already have a food truck, and that said that they would come, and also the Hickory Museum of Art said that they would come and that they would have a table. So thank you, Dean Katie. So those two are for sure locked down. We also have, if any of you are familiar with the Mexican place Las Isabellas in Hickory,
Yes.
we are working to get them to come and be a food truck, but more like cater food. So they would come, cook the food, and people would pay for plates, basically. We're working, or one of my council members is working to get that in there. Fruits bus that's always parked on like 127, the coffee school bus, that they would come to the event as well. So that's another one. Next, we are still working on a band. We have a couple in mind, but they want how much money they need and stuff like that. So I will let you all know once we get to a decision on that. We have full backing from the art department to have student art tables at the event, so that way students can sell their art. Professors, even if they wanted to jump in on this, they could sell their art as well. That stuff. We decided that we were going to get t-shirts for this event and get them made. We're looking at about 200 t-shirts, give or take, depending on how much they cost and the people that we go through. So I will let you guys know for that. Santiago, if I could get with you, or if I could get with somebody who has this, the emails of presidents at school.
Yeah.
So that way I would be able to send them an email about the Spring Bazaar to see if they would like a table, or anyone would like a table or booth. And then I will also be reaching out to fraternities and sororities to see if they would like to have a table and or represent a certain philanthropy at the event. So that's the Spring Bazaar. We are hopefully going to be done with having everyone say yes, we will come, and having all the logistics lined up before we go off for December break. So I will let you all know about that. And then for the gender neutral bathrooms, I'm emailing the RDs of Morgan and Conrad and discussing with them how to go about, let me rephrase that. Discussing with them if they think that we should go forward with pushing for gender neutral bathrooms in the freshman dorms. So again, I will in the freshman dorms. I will let you all know about that at the next meeting. Did anybody have any questions?
I have two. Who's working with you on this? Your class reps?
For what?
Your council on the bazaar?
Do you know their names?
No, I'm just, is that what's
It's gonna be.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And how many people are
In my class council?
Yeah. The only reason I'm asking is so that people who might be thinking about this in the future understand how much work it is.
There's 6 of us total,
6,
including
okay.
myself.
And is the date still April 13th?
Yes.
Plan.
Okay, good luck getting all those.
And then,
numbers.
also
Got it handled.
on the Spring Bazaar, myself, Dean Katie, Otis Pitts, and Norris Yoder are all going to have a meeting to discuss basically like security wise, power generators and stuff like that, and make sure that it's all going to be functional for the event. So.
Brett, let me just say, I know this, you guys are a long way out in, what is that, 5 months?
Yeah.
And that you still got a lot of work to do, but great job.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm serious. This is it's a bigger project than I would have ever done. Let me just put it that way. And I think you so far have knocked it out of the park. And you know, I'd encourage you to finish well. And I have little doubt that you won't. But so great job.
Thank you.
And tell your classmates that you have our support, and you'd have, for one more meeting, you'd have my vote if you need financial support or anything. So I'm serious.
Thank you.
Great job.
Also on that note, we should have like estimates of how much everything should cost, so I should come with budget proposals at the next meeting. I will let you know. Yeah. Thank you.
You may want to send the budget request form,
Okay.
just so that they'll have it. So whoever on this committee can be working on that, make it look pretty.
Thank you, Brett. If no, Olivia.
So, last Friday I sent out an email to what I thought was all the freshmen. It turns out that Gmail cuts it off at 400 lines, so I only got half of the list. So from the first half, 7 people responded that they wanted to be on the class council, that they were interested. And then I realized that not everyone got it, so this morning we figured out how to get it to everyone, and I sent it out, and now I have 25 people. I didn't know what your guys' opinion was, like how many the max I thought my council was, or any
All 25.
suggestions for that.
Usually I think people are gonna weed themselves out too.
Yeah.
Part of it would just you reach out to folks and say maybe the 25 and talk, say, hey, who wants to meet and talk?
Mhm.
The odds of people, all 25 responding are very
Yeah, that's my
minimal.
plan, was to have them have a first meeting now or something, and then
And then you're gonna
see
have
how
it.
it trickles down.
Then choose from, maybe do 2 different meeting times because you know, I mean, people have priorities and things that they have to go to. And so just be like, hey, we're meeting in these 2 times. Come to one of them or both, and then go from there.
Okay.
That's what I would do. But
Still, and depending on what kind of project you might want to undertake, you may need to open to work groupings, so you don't want to get,
Yeah.
you want to be, see who the ones who are really going to show up, but then you may have a lot of people who are like, well, I'll help with whatever, you know, and so if they really will, then heck, take as many people as you can to keep them roll.
yeah. I guess go from
Yeah.
you say 7 to 20.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
It was like,
But I do have
God.
every type of student, which was my goal. So resident, athlete, international student, commuters, everyone represented. So, but that's all for my report.
Pedro, can you help me out?
I think
please?
it's me.
It's
I think it's
commuters?
me.
Okay.
Okay, so the last meeting I talked about us doing community breakfast in spring. And so I talked to Jeremy, and he finally replied saying that he would be able to help with the event, and he would make a deal with us. I told him that I would get back to him of the date that we had thought we were thinking about doing it. And from the conversations I've had with other commuters and just people on Katie and other people on campus, I decided that it might be best to do it the second week that we're back from spring break, which I believe is the 18th in January. Right, but I think leadership starts in February, so it wouldn't be before the leadership, whatever thing starts. And so that is our plan, or my plan. And I'm gonna go back to him and ask him about it, if that's okay.
You said second week coming back from
Christmas break. From Christmas
Oh.
break. Yeah, you said spring break.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was like,
We're going to start in June.
She said spring break and then I heard January. I was like, that's still on spring break.
Sorry.
Surprise.
It's been a long day, and
It's fine. It's okay. Kat?
So we have 3 events for the rest of this semester. On Wednesday is Campus Feud. and we are hoping for 6 to 8 groups of 4 people to play, and there is $250 to the group who wins. So each person of 4 would get $50 gift card. And then November 27th is Winter Wonderland. We'll have stuffed pillows, Santa, a photo booth with Santa, a horse and carriage ride, hot cocoa bar, pin the ears on the elf, snowman, and reindeer kind of like game. And then we're going to have ornaments, and then we're going to have food, and then we're having sweatshirts as prizes. And they came in and they're really cute. They're navy and they have a beanie on the back and it says Winter Wonderland. And then we're doing a sweater competition, and then we're having a wrap relay where you like wrap someone up. And Christmas wrapping paper. And then December 3rd, we're having our Christmas holiday movie in Belk Centrum, and the movie that was chosen by the students is Elf. And that's what we have for the rest of the semester.
December 3rd.
What was the
Yes,
date?
Final Flip is not captive.
Okay.
December 3rd.
December 3rd.
What time?
Oh,
What time?
I don't have the time yet.
Okay.
Sorry, this might be a silly question. Does that exclude like any of those events? Do they exclude grad students? Is it for everyone?
Usually
I think it's for everyone. I think that you can't. I think grad students aren't allowed to get the T-shirts or the like stuff we give out, but anyone's welcome to come to the events.
They can participate.
Yeah, they can participate.
Can they participate?
Oh, I don't know. I would have to ask Chantel and then get back to you.
Does the campus feud have to be like an organization, or can it just be like a
It
group
can-
of 4 people?
It can be a group of 4 people, and it's like first come, first serve.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have no clue what campus feud is. I have no idea.
It's gonna be. It's like Family Feud.
So is it like questions like based on campus, or is it like just questions?
I think it's just like random. Probably more about like pop culture. I think stuff that's like relative to the students.
You said we lose. So lose.
Yeah, 6 to 8 groups of people to play.
Okay. And it's from 7
And
to 9.
I think that like as time goes on, like whoever you just show up with your 4 people
Okay.
and you can play.
Are we done with reports?
I will say that one other thing that somebody asked down here, Santiago asked about, midnight breakfast or campus or final flip, whatever we call it nowadays. That is gonna be,
December 6th.
6.
thank you,
From
December
6:30
6th.
to 10:30.
It's
Yes.
6:30 to 10:30.
Because we had to cancel it last winter because of snow or inclement weather.
Yeah.
Please encourage and make sure you spread the word out, particularly about, to first year students. Cause y'all don't know what it is. And a lot of sophomores only know one time, so.
I didn't go the first one.
Alright.
We're good.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'll turn it over. We'll just
Yeah.
here, like the trip, and then how much you're asking for.
Well, thank you for allowing me to come talk with you today. I am requesting Student Government Association funds to fund a field trip. I'm teaching a class, English 339, it's a Shakespeare class, and it's enrolled 18 students from major and from the theater major. And we took a trip 2 weeks ago to go to Stanton, Virginia. That is a recreation of Shakespeare's indoor theater, the Blackfriars, the only one on the East Coast. So we spent the night in Stanton. It's a 4-hour drive, so we couldn't do it in one day. We got to see a recreation of Richard III and and As You Like It, 2 of Shakespeare's plays, and a playhouse tour. The important thing about that for our class is part of the class is learning to put a text in its historical context, and they do it in Shakespeare's style. So there are no lights, there's no speakers or sound technology. It's a reconstruction almost board by board of the playhouse. So it gives us a chance to experience the theater in its early modern context. From a teaching point of view, it's an experience learning activity, which I'm sure you know it's more fun and you learn more from going on a field trip than just reading about it in your book. So the cost that we calculated was $159 per student, which is prohibitive for students to go on. I did get a $500 grant from the Center for Teaching and Learning, leaving the remaining budget at $2,235 is the money that needs to be made up, and I'm grateful for any amount.
Does anyone have any questions for them?
Sorry, did Dr.
I
Heller?
did.
Oh, go ahead.
I sent, what was the question? Like,
The
did I-
question was, did Dr. Heller get a form, an official
Yeah,
request
I
form?
sent the budget request to you guys like last meeting, so if you would search. I
Okay,
didn't want to have to send it again.
thank you,
Because I've already
thank you.
sent it. So this already happened, right?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and get me like all the receipts. That way we can. Anyone have
What did she say the remaining cost was?
2,000?
235, and this was for my budget estimate. I didn't
Yeah.
total up
I
the
think it's
receipts,
like
but I certainly will.
40 something. Does anyone else have any questions?
I will say, remember that typically what happens, and you may wanna explain this, SGA, after they've heard the proposal, make sure you have any questions, because once Dr. Heller is dismissed, we don't know the answers. You may know some of them because of the proposal, but we wanna make sure that Dr. Heller has all the opportunities for people to ask her questions, because she'll be dismissed and y'all will decide these budget proposals toward a little bit later in the meeting, so that way they don't have to wait through all the different ones. Okay, so I just don't want people to ask her, they don't wanna be shy or something, so.
Well, I'll ask a question. Did the students have to pay anything?
That is to be determined. I told them that they should plan in the neighborhood of $25, which is covers one of the play tickets. So that's kind of what they had in their mind. Our English program would be able to make up some of the difference, so we do have some flexibility with that. And I do recognize that I'm asking for the money after the trip through various, I've had a student assistant working on the project, and they had some difficulty getting everything together, so I am definitely behind my ideal timeline, asking you for money that I've already spent.
Yeah, be the last one.
Okay, any other questions?
Are there pictures anywhere that we could see at some point? Not right this minute, but I'd just love to see the pictures if there are
Yeah,
some.
absolutely, I will get them to you.
Fabulous. I'd just love to see kind of the things, I'd love to see the theater, just if you have pictures of that, just because that.
It's pretty remarkable.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna let her go.
Okay, well, and this is curiosity, who's actually for it up to this point?
I have.
You have, okay.
Out of your personal pocket?
Last question I've got, are the students gonna be like convo or anything that they might, give back to campus on kind of, here's what we did, and this is kind of cool thing, where they
At
do
this point,
present
We
presentations?
have no plan, again, my
Okay.
plan was to come to you in
Right.
September and articulate this.
Gotcha.
Just in some
Yeah.
planning.
You think they'd be willing to present something, maybe do a convo or something for students who might be interested, or?
Probably, yes, I'm sure they would,
Yeah.
I mean.
That'd be a way they could give
you
back
can
to the
see-
campus.
Yes, and you can see as you like it, which
Yeah.
draws on some of the
Right,
students, draw on
which is-
performance
yeah.
practices, and you can definitely
Cool.
see if there's more. But
Yeah.
given the fact that it is mid-November, I don't know how
Right.
we would
Right,
do that in some of the.
that's true, like I
But
said, 'cause some of them are
theoretically,
gonna be
yes,
graduating, that's
they're,
right.
they're very open to sharing.
Is this an annual trip?
It is, we've done it twice, it's
Okay.
every other year.
I was just saying, we could use it to advertise your class. We did the convo.
You like Shakespeare, right?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. I'll email you what we decide.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Bring here representing Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't have a budget proposal, right?
Not this time.
Okay. I know I sent one out, okay. She's here representing Soto. So,
Does everybody know what
I
soda
think-
is?
But they don't have a budget proposal.
Okay.
Did you have anything to report?
Nope, doesn't report.
Okay.
I've just been encouraged to participate and attend, so that's
Okay. Did Haley send you?
Well,
I would say if she's willing to participate, I think we should probably at some point, Cab, find at least one t-shirt for her. Anybody who's willing to show up here,
Okay.
I will find you a shirt.
Yeah, I can talk to Chantel for you.
Just say, for somebody, if a graduate student's willing to come and be fully a part of things, that would be, at least for that one person for sure.
I think Taylor's going to be presenting in place of Aaron. So.
Taylor, you wanna do yours?
The budget proposal?
Uh-huh.
Perfect, yeah. Okay, so Matt said,
Before you do that, make sure at some point you do
Yeah.
email that proposal, no, just email her, so she will have a formal copy of the.
I already have it.
Oh, you already have it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you already got it, okay, I'm sorry,
Oh,
I didn't realize you'd gotten
It's
hers.
been approved by
Okay,
by the budget committee.
okay, I didn't know you'd even heard about this one that she's about to
I
present.
think the only thing that was really wrong was it says organization name and it says LRSGA. So like
Okay, so
this should
SGA
be
would be-
athletics or something.
Right.
Because they're asking.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
okay, so still do it even though
Yes.
it's approved? Okay. So he said the NCAA has lowered the ticket prices for students to $3 each. We would only need $300 for 100 students to get in, and he would like to change he would like to challenge that SGA provide for 150 students to have tickets to the game. Athletics said that they would purchase the rest for the students, and this is a good deal because Athletics is providing for the rest, but Aaron asked for SGA support to help. They were able to lower the cost for students, so I feel that we should at least put some funds forward to help bring excitement to the home game.
Okay, so it was originally $10 per person, and they were asking for $1,000. You'll send that to me because I didn't know you guys changed it. But yeah. Do you want to have any questions for Taylor?
So wait, how many tickets are we?
$300 for 100 students.
So it's, yeah, I don't send me any
But he
notes
asked
on
for
this.
150 tickets.
And how many?
Possibly willing to extend it to a hundred. I do have a
Okay,
question,
Taylor.
and not about this one, because this one I, as money, this would be another way, like, so we supported a soccer team, it'd be nice to do something like this. There's a possibility, I don't know if anybody else analyzed the brackets I'm doing, because I'm like looking, going, okay,
There's a
we're about
possibility
exams
of
and all this kind of stuff already. So if next week, the second, not the highest seed, if the highest seed wins next week and we win, or so let's we win this week and they win.
You're talking about hosting
So
a-
so
there's a chance
if
for us to host.
West Georgia beats Wingate and we beat the other, we're going as West Georgia on the second game.
Mhm.
If Wingate though beats West Georgia and we win, we would host two games in a row. So that's the thing, is that we will not have another SGA meeting before the second game.
That's
Just like
what-
that.
that's what-
So I would want to have this group consider the idea of thinking in advance. If X, and we host a second game, would you want to, at that point, take a vote outside of order of SGA through GroupMe, which is one of the few times you would actually use GroupMe as a real vote, because it's not inside of a real meeting. But that would be a kind of an addendum, so, because they're coming back if they win and we host a second game. If we host an away game, you won't be asked for
When
funds
would
at
that
that point.
second game be here?
The
The
24th
24th, the Saturday of Thanksgiving.
November.
That's what Aaron was saying.
And not many people will be here,
Hi, Leo.
so, some people, a lot of the commuters will be because they're close.
Well, no, if it's a home game, Van
Well,
has
you
to be
got
here.
you.
Really?
And
Um, My question would be, are we guaranteed the $3 ticket price for games 2? Or is this just game by game and we have to negotiate next time? So
You may ask him.
I would,
Go ahead.
if, to follow up on this, if you vote for this and be thinking about it, you might just set a dollar limit and whatever,
Pay up to $1,000 worth of tickets. I'm just making numbers up.
That wasn't what I was thinking, but anyway.
Well, you say we'll pay up to $600, $300 for this game, $300 for the next game.
Yeah,
However many that gets, or whatever.
yeah, something like that. That's what I meant. But
Yeah, yeah.
there's no
That-
guarantee
that's
that
a better-
this ticket. I just
What do you
don't.
need to be spent?
Okay.
So, I think my question is do we easily get more than 100 students?
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, because this past weekend, they were giving out free beanies, and not a lot of students showed up.
They had 500 people, so they,
They
had
had-
one box lot.
I don't know, y'all.
That's because
I was there. and it was
seriously,
packed.
the
Yeah.
van.
A lot,
I won't
students
do
don't
it.
always, the students don't always sit in the student section.
I was gonna do that.
And so that's the thing, is that the student section that's not set up, Peyton is the one true blue person who's sitting there. I think Brett, you're usually
She's
over
in the
there too.
pictures pretty.
Yeah,
I know,
But-
she's
but-
always in the
yeah.
But there's a
picture.
lot of
Flag.
students who are in fact other places. I mean, we got 80 who are in the marching band, so you're gonna get enough. Now, the marching band's not gonna have to pay in the same way, I do not believe. I hope not, cause then your money's already gone at that point. But a lot of students do actually go, they just don't sit all together, so you can't tell. So there's probably 65 or 70 who sit in the student section. Do you think, hey, would that be fair?
If people actually show up, yes.
If they come and they sit there,
Yes, yes.
but a lot of people sit in other places, cause they're just like
Which I
sitting on
don't
the
think
side of
we
it.
do that.
Right, right.
But Aaron said, I told him, would it be possible to cover for that reduction, and he said, yeah, we'll make sure of it
For the second game?
for the second game.
Well, there you go. 600.
They would still be doing it.
Yes,
They're
sir.
gonna try to get the price
And
reduction.
I don't know, they probably won't know this answer, but so we're covering for the first game up to 100 students,
That's
correct?
Yes.
possibly
$100.
Possibly
$300.
$150.
$300.
How much is athletics?
But they're-
Like for the how much are they providing?
Whatever.
I'm sure a
They
lot
said
more
the
than
rest
we
of
were.
it.
For the rest, for all the rest of the student body.
Yes.
For the
Okay.
all,
All students will
wow.
be paid for one way or the other.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For students
That's
it's
what
free, so they would cover all the costs.
Yeah, I'm just curious because if they weren't going to cover like the rest of the students, we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, we would need to.
Yeah.
That was
If-
exactly what I was asking earlier.
If 2,600 more students want to show up, they will foot the bill for everybody else. If you have a student ID, they're gonna foot the bill for you. You're gonna get into the game free.
Okay. That was a
Sweet.
concern I had.
If we do this, I just want to make sure that the students know that SGA paid for them
Yes.
to get in.
That
Like,
was on the
that's-
website. So on the website that athletics put out and on Facebook, it was like, hey, SGA's gonna pay for this, which I will tell you, full disclosure, I emailed the athletic department and said, this sounds all good and well, but SGA hasn't, you haven't asked SGA yet. They
That's
can't,
what I messaged him, I was like, what are you doing?
like, you can't put it down until we ask SGA, so.
That's why I messaged him before this meeting, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think
He was
that's not,
prophesying.
yeah.
And I got a very, I know if I had my phone here, I'd read it for you, a very nice message, we are so sorry. We wanna give SGA as much credit as possible, even if y'all said no, then we're gonna put the SGA. So, not to say,
So we've got people submitting budgets for stuff that's already been paid for. We've got athletics saying we paid for stuff we haven't actually paid
right,
for. What's happening?
right, so I wanted to make sure that athletics understand, it's like, it's not that SGA doesn't wanna participate and play and be able to be a good steward of money to help enrich the campus life. But they do have to actually write proposals and send them to somebody and say, cause no one person in here gets to say, I can't even give your money away. Yeah, I probably could, but I'm not going to. So, I mean, technically, I have to write a check who wants to just do it. But y'all are the ones who have to make these decisions, and while I can help, push, pull, sway, whatever, you ultimately have to make the decisions, so. But yeah, so it already went out there yesterday, I'm like, no, you can't do that, so. We'll definitely get the credit for it.
Someone wanna make a motion? Or we follow suit?
Alright, I'll motion to approve $300 to sponsor to make 100 students to get to the NCAA and ACC. I don't know that.
NCAA.
For this week.
Were we going to
Next week.
extend it to
Yeah.
150? No,
Extend it to 250?
because that was like the second question.
So my question is, do you guys want to do it for the next game? Is that what you were wanting to extend it for?
No, like when she was reading it, it
Yeah.
initially said $100 students, and then she said 150 students. So I was a little
But I
confused
think
about
it was
that.
like because it was $10 ticket for 100
I
students.
think what he was saying is like the original he wanted was 100, but if we like to challenge to get that 150, then he would want the 150.
Yeah, of course he wants that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then is that still for a $300 price?
It'd still be-
Well,
yeah.
No,
it'd be-
that would be
$450.
$3 per ticket.
Should be 450 then.
In other words,
But then we're
how
gonna
many
try to do
tickets
that
are we
again.
willing to buy
You'll
for
get
each
that
game?
home.
Yeah. But that was only for the
Or do you
first.
have a certain dollar amount that you're like, here's how much we're gonna give them, and they can either do it for all for the first game, or
That would
none
be
for
a
the second,
safer-
or,
What?
you know,
That would be a safer route.
Well, what if they don't
No,
use
Well,
it
yeah, but
this
then-
time?
Well,
and
then you
then
only
it
transfer,
goes to
we only
the-
transfer the amount of money
You
that
could do
in the
that.
day
Well,
that, so if
that's a
only
good
50
idea.
students show up, was crazy, they will only charge us for
Say
50
for when it
students, but
comes
you would
to
say, here's how much we
number
were
of students.
willing to give for the first one, but they won't give you any more than that. Cause of,
For
you know,
us, I guess, it's because what if it comes back and they review host second game, they don't get the $3 ticket value, and we just said we're gonna spend $1,500 on tickets. That's on that. But again, the likelihood of the 2 seed losing the 7 as
I
well.
mean, it's in the regular, please gonna be home.
I think we should.
and you're gonna have, you know.
Wait,
I
what's
would say
Wingett's record?
If you say up to let's say you said up to $600, and they can use 300 for the first game and up to another 300 for the second game, if needed.
Yep.
If it's not, then we only stick with our 300 or
Okay.
whatever the number is you want, and that's just it.
I like that.
So what's the
Yeah.
likelihood of us winning again, or them
Likelihood of
playing
us
here?
winning the
No,
first
like
one.
playing again next week, not this.
But
It's
not-
for other
not
people.
high.
So not
Not coming back here.
Wingett's
with-
gonna have to beat the second seed team,
Okay.
because we're 3.
Where do they see?
Wingett's 2.
Oh,
No,
Wingate.
Wingate.
Oh,
is
they're
7,
playing, Wingett's 7,
and they're playing the 2.
they're playing
I
2,
thought that-
playing 6. Does that make sense to people, what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And one has
Yeah.
a
Who
bye,
were
which
playing
that's
this
week?
interesting. I didn't
My
know
family
One
got a
always
house
was bad.
divided. My brother went to Wingate.
And Valdez is gonna win the whole thing.
so are we doing?
We're not getting out of this one, right?
So we're making
Which
a
one we
motion.
doing?
I think the 600 is fine.
Okay.
And then if needed, they can then use the other 3. But then
Well,
we just get back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 300, and then if needed, another 300?
Yes.
For the
Yeah,
second
make that
motion.
motion. Let me know. Let me know.
Is that an amended motion?
That's an amended motion, yeah.
Okay, so we going for the first motion?
Well, the amended motion was 300
And
plus an extra 300 if needed. If not needed, if the game is not here, then you would retract the second 300.
We take it back.
So
so,
we just don't have to transfer it.
correct me if I'm mistaken. Amend the motion to have a 300 plus another 300 from the second game. Is that right?
If
If
needed.
if necessary.
Great. So is there any second?
I'll second it.
Great. Is anyone abstain? Is anyone opposed? Awesome.
All those in favor?
All those in favor? Thank you. Great. So now we have to do one for the motion? Or no?
Nope, you're good, you're good.
Good. So athletics will be happy. But they are already.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, okay, so moving on to the Shakespeare trip. Let me know what you guys think. So, it's $124.16 per person, but Dr. Heller paid for it. So,
Is their class do anything where they have to pay for anything to start with, like any fees?
English classes don't typically have fees.
Question.
Yours does?
No, just saying.
I guess I don't think so.
Yeah.
Did we ever establish like a price per student thing like we
Years
did
ago.
last year?
Years ago, I don't think y'all have come up with a direct one this year. In past years, usually the most we've ever paid per student for something was about, I think 180 was the absolute max, 150 was a comfortable number. If you were to actually figure out how much every student pays, talking about undergraduates, you pay to make our $30,000, it's only like $31 and something cents. So each person has, you've all paid $31 for, so if you're giving out 100, other people aren't gonna get their money back. I don't care which way you do it. I think, to me, just as a note, all students should have some skin in the game. When I take a group to Selma, Alabama, and we have a grant to do that, but everybody pays at least $50. And they did go overnight. I mean, it's a great trip. I mean, that sounds wonderful. However, you gotta decide.
Well, then we're back into the situation where like last year where we had the cheerleaders and like band was paying so much, but then
Right.
yeah.
So the students haven't paid anything yet. I think it's just a problem with reimbursing Dr. Heller.
But she
She's
also
only
did say
telling
the
me.
English department could pay some as well.
And if each of the students paid
$25
$25
each.
apiece. Did she say how many students?
18.
So 18, was 18 times 25? 400? No.
480, I think.
450.
450. So if you counted on each of them paying 25 each, and you subtracted that from the amount, and you subtract, 20% 50% of that, or you split, you say, we'll split it with the English department, I don't know how much
Yeah.
money y'all have, I know you're gonna be quiet about this, but
Brandon's
I have
over-
no idea how much students have,
This is all-
but that might be.
He's like, I'm just gonna keep on scrolling.
That
I see
might
his
be-
thumb going.
That might be, you know,
Oh, goodness.
Okay, if we did that, we would each be paying $800.92 and $892.50.
if each student paid 25.
No, if
If they pay-
$450 from the total, split it with English department.
Right, so the 450 would be covered by the students,
Yeah.
and then the rest would be split it with the. I will also say this as complete devil's advocate for your group, you have a heck of a lot of money, and not that you don't wanna have to do some other big things, but we're moving, and so at some point, if you don't spend it, then you gotta think of a big project that we do in May and June to get your money spent, which is how, also, that's how we paid for lights on the volleyball court one year, we paid for water fountains around campus one year, so there's things you can do, so I'm not saying you have to spend all your money. I just don't want you to think that, you know, it's hard, it actually is harder than you think to spend $25,000. We wanna spend in the realm of 5,000 or 6,000 at the end. Oh, yeah, here, let's buy 3 more cameras that for safety or buy a comma, but that's, I just wanna make sure y'all know.
I know what I wanted, yes.
Oh, well, I was just talking to your, also keep in mind, like, at the end of the year, that's when a lot of people come asking for money for trips too, cause that's when a lot of, like, conferences and stuff
Yes.
go on, so just,
And then at our next meeting, we have the intramural sports coming, and they haven't been approved yet, but they're asking for $4,000. So
And you're gonna have some money that was gonna go out for the street fair, and each of the classes.
equipment?
That number if you were to subtract out the money for each of the classes,
what?
cause we started off with 30, so you really are 26 if you mentally, they haven't spent it yet, cause sometimes some classes don't always spend their money, or they only spend part, so.
Shoot, 'cause I was gonna say we should deduct $20 if we should give them.
So, yes, you're supposed to do 2 weeks in advance. So that's the other complicating thing here, is they've already gone on the trip. And she paid for it out of cash, which I think she had told us she was coming, but she just had not gotten, whoever the student worker was who was doing it didn't get all the information.
So is there any way we can get a rough balance of what, so we've got our 29 and whatever, minus 4,
Yeah, I think it's static.
which would be 25 and some.
Oh no, that felt weird.
Well,
Thank you.
450, minus 450, and it was, how much was
No, he's
it? Oh,
saying
I'm
our
sorry,
budget.
Yeah, no, I'm saying let's,
Okay,
cause
yeah.
cause like right now, our
Whatever the budget was.
29,
Dr. Brandon,
our
do you know how they got there?
budget.
They get like a,
So
do you
it's like-
know how they got there? Charter bus?
No, cause of buses.
That's why I was like, what are
So
they?
you're really talking
So
about
what do you
drove
think they drove?
$5,000 each guy.
That's my guess.
Just gave me an idea.
Maybe not for this year.
I give them some. They do, the problem is that with things such as the band party from May Day, they'll really push onto us, which is good. It's just there's budgets we have to kind of shuffle. Somebody that we would not plan to shuffle.
I don't think they got a bus. I think they
Okay,
drove.
so our actual budget minusing the 1,000 for all the classes and for commuters is 24.
Okay. So you're really ducking $24,000 you have right now.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Yay! Touchdown! Good news.
First meeting.
So what I'm thinking, so it's 20, it's basically, the semester's basically,
Yeah, well,
not saying we won't spend any more money. I mean, again, like, I personally I would not vote in favor of giving $4,000 to girls. That's just, I'll just put that out there. But
Yeah, 43 days.
would it really be the worst thing if we did, so there's 18 students who went, times 20, that's 360. Subtract that from the 2,000 whatever, and we just give them that and say, you know what, it's,
Without having it with the English department. Because she gave me the budget and I'm putting it into the English departments.
yeah, we're reimbursing the English.
I think the English department should pay for some of this.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
wait.
yeah.
He's gonna get it in the water.
Why are we reimbursing the English department?
Because I'm sure the English department reimbursed her, I would assume.
Okay, so I don't have to feel guilty about her spending $2,000 on that. Okay, then yeah, I'm fine with that.
I would keep out really
Question?
bad.
I know. Take the power and use it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how we normally look at the. Well, I'm sorry. A lot of this is coming from last year. So she
So we looked at
on
the
here,
breakdown.
she like broke it down, but they're like saying that they're like paying for dinner. Like the dinner was brought, like paid for through the thing. And
didn't do a lot
we
of food
never.
last year, no.
Yeah. So that's why I'm
Because
trying
you
to.
have pay- I mean, you're gonna have to eat one way or the other,
If you're going on a field trip, you just need to know you're going to pay for it yourself.
for some of it.
Because I went on a field trip and I had to pay for myself.
Band did. Yeah. We just did it like 2 weeks
That's
ago.
just not. Sorry.
How much was on?
270.
They weren't there. I'm going.
So what do you guys think is a fair split between the student government and the English department? We pay 300.
Alright.
She did 7.
Okay.
700.
So I calculated it, and taking out the food and the grant that they got, it's $1,965. So
I can do
from, are we subtracting $20 per student?
Wednesday.
I think that's I agree with you. $20.
So that's 15 for like total, and then if we split it, then it's 757. So 700.
Round out.
Yeah.
Round it up to
800.
140.
Brett wants to make a
Can we
motion.
round? Can we round it up to 8?
What we pay.
Run it to 800.
So instead of 850, 757. round
Did
it
you
up.
say what?
Brett, you are gonna have plenty of money for your spring bazaar.
No,
I know.
no,
how this
I'm not.
works.
I'm not worried about that. I mean, she told her students to expect to pay $25.
Because they should pay for it.
So why don't we tell them that they have to pay the $25, and then if you do the math right, it's $757. I mean, I'm fairly certain the English department can cover $757, and so can we. So I don't see why we would bump it up like $43 more dollars. $42 and a half
The only
more
reason I said the 20 is because it's easy to just. You go to the ATM, you get $20, you give it to them.
It's
I mean,
just
that's the only reason in my.
But it's just as easy to put your finger down and press the 5 with the 22.
What kind of ATMs you go to?
She
You
also
press the
said-
20 and then you say,
I just wanna say,
another
she said
deposit, and then you go to 5.
She also said 25 to 30, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we could push it to 30 if we wanted to. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We're pushing. What's the difference? We're talking about $90.
Well, I don't think the student. I think
You
she
want to
like-
add $43 more dollars to it?
I think she already told the students they paid $25, and they paid that. And English.
No, they haven't
No,
yet.
they haven't paid it yet.
Nobody. So that
But-
is that is the raw gross cost of this trip.
But you don't. I don't think she's gonna ask them to pay more. Like I think she kind of told them they're paying $25, and she'll figure out the rest. However she has to. So I don't
She's
think.
asking
But,
Through
like,
blood
Alright,
spots.
does anyone have a motion?
Okay, can I motion to
Yes.
approve of $700? I mean $760.
Did she round it up?
Round it up,
There
round
you
it
go.
up.
Second.
You got a second?
I second that.
Can you repeat the number, please?
$760.
Okay, so motion for $760. Is there any second? Great. Anyone abstain? Anyone oppose?
I think we should pay 800.
Okay.
Anyway.
Wait for it.
What's
What happened?
I just think we should pay 800.
I'll figure in a minute.
It's
So all those
just
who
a
are
principle.
approved. Say call for all those who agree.
Okay.
For all-
Agree, say hi. Hey.
Aye.
Wait, but what are we
So you're
agreeing
voting
to?
on, the
Okay.
motion in the second was for $760. You have no abstentions, you have only one objection. Who says aye?
I for one.
Raise your hand if you
The
say aye.
760.
760.
Who agrees?
No.
The 760.
We can't.
760.
We can't.
760 is motion, you're only voting on 760.
That's what she's proposing.
Because the motion was made in the second, so you have to vote on that one.
You're separate, you're not
Why are y'all
supporting it.
making
You
my
can
job
vote.
complicated?
I don't think
We
we can.
motioned in
Yeah, they
second.
can't.
We can't, right?
Oh, really?
Because we motioned in.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can vote.
Yeah.
Then nobody can vote on anything.
Ms. Evans. Okay, so it passes. $760 with one opposition.
I know.
I was about to.
It's okay.
Was this
I will-
the last
I will
budget?
not lose
Yes.
sleep over the morning talk.
Hey, you got here. That's all that counts.
Okay.
Matt.
Way to go,
So
Matt.
what are we, where are we now? What's next?
Anything else?
Is that it?
I have a question.
Yep.
So we haven't had any reports from the resident life.
Yes, I
They
can
put up
give you,
flyers.
yes,
Okay.
I can give you the issue there.
Okay.
So, getting students from residence life is rather difficult because the only hall that even thinks about trying to get people are the people who are the freshman halls. Table already.
Yeah,
House
my
of
RA was
Dingley.
asking people about that.
So we're trying.
So they put up the flyer in our residence halls. If no one, for the freshman residence halls, if no one like responds to that, I can see if anyone that responded to my email about being on my.
Seats at the table, they either need to fill them or we shouldn't,
We changed the
or
constitution.
we shouldn't. I mean,
Yep.
that's just, because we have a lot of business to do, and if no one's going to be invested enough and care enough, then let's not.
Well,
Fiddle
last year
around.
we
Last
always
year they
had
had to-
random people
They
just
had
like
to beg
show up
people,
and
the
none of them
RAs
knew
to
where.
change, yeah,
And I would
to
also
do-
have a deadline, like if your residence hall doesn't have
I
a
would,
rep by a certain date, then.
I would recommend you change it in the spring to then just change it where there's no representation from the residence halls. Because then you got them all this way anyway.
Wow. Serious.
Oh, yeah.
Revolution.
Kick 'em out.
Revolution
Well-
by execution.
Either, the only person who would not be represented is somebody who lives in a residence hall right now is Emily, because everybody else has people, well, and you represent everybody. Your represents
Yeah.
everybody, you represent everybody, I mean, or in your class, and, you know, so the classes are, everybody who's here in one way or the other is represented.
I'm sure
Other
most of us
than
live
Emily, and
somewhere
she's the only person
different.
who can represent anybody who happens to live on campus at
I
some
represent people that live at their properties.
Yeah, I've seen her.
Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway, that could go in the minutes
Yes.
for future consideration, please.
Oh yeah, I don't think you can do both.
It's like
I'm
for
wearing
the
slides
voting.
from practice, so I'll
Yeah.
step there about 5
All
minutes.
right.
Oh, they're bad.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Hey, anything else on your agenda?
Yeah,
Touch
so
base on the agenda? Call for the board, call for the- call for the-
Adjourned.
Gotcha.
I call to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
Second.
Everybody.
So I'm right now I'm booked every other week, and then like if there's an event I go up, I'll come all the
We
way.
got like an hour and a half.
That's often like anyway, like if I go to Lowe's and figure out like I kind of estimate on my wood and floors and plywood and all that stuff. So what I did